went to those who closed the open door, and turning the key, I sat and spoke to those inside of me. They answered my questions with questions, and they pointed me into the night, where the moon was a star-painted dancer, and the world was just a spectrum of light. They reached to my center of being, and they pulled out the touchstone that's there. The shock of the light had me reeling, and I fell into the depths of despair. Turning the key, I sat and spoke to those inside of me. They answered my questions with questions, and they set me to stand on the brink, where the sun and the moon are as brothers, and all there was left was to think. They answered my questions with questions, and they pointed me into the night, and the power that bore me left me alone to figure out which way was right.
Good morning. Whenever I have music, a service with Chris doing the music, she does this amazing research where she looks and looks and looks for the perfect songs, and thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Karen Brammer, without my glasses. Oh, how interesting. And I'm honored, delighted, lifted to be among you. It's always so good to see you and to be with you. I want to welcome you as newcomers, as people who have come here many, many times, as people who are changing as you come, as people who are finding your way, as people who have lots of questions, sometimes fewer answers than questions. And I am grateful that you're willing to be together here in a space where we welcome you, ourselves, and each other, no matter what our circumstances, no matter who we are, where we've come from, and where we may or may not be going. We are all welcome here. There are announcements, the first of which I'll turn into an announcement because it's always part of our welcome, which is that we are on the land of the Haudenosaunee people, Mohawk and also Oneida, this land being stolen from those people many years ago, and those people still living in our midst, not very far away from this place. And so we here commit ourselves to understanding what it means to live with consciousness and with a mind towards justice and care and right relationship. I'm going to invite Jack and Tammy to come for announcements. And here we go, whoever gets here first.
I've had my coffee. I'm Tammy Tanarowitz, and I work with Mary on hospitality. I work with Mary on hospitality, and I'm here to ask you to please sign up. April and May are completely blank, so we love our happy hour. There are treats that are provided if you can't afford to or don't want to buy anything specifically. The cabinet has been refreshed, and you can always just talk to Mary or myself, and we can help you. If you're a first-time person, don't worry. We'll match you with someone who's done it before, and it's once you get the hang of it, it's no big deal. So we would love to see you sign up. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jack Pendrak. I would like to just give a quick update on the status of our, excuse me, our stewardship drive. We're now up to a little over $80,000 with, I think, 54 pledges, which is very good news because we're almost to the point of where the pledge drive was last year, and we're well on our way to our goal, which is $94,000. There's still several people, maybe 15 or 16, who haven't pledged yet. Some have mailed in their pledges, and we just haven't seen them yet. But if you haven't pledged yet, please, now is the time. We need your pledge in order to be able to make a good budget for next year. If we don't know, if we don't know what to expect as far as our income, we can't make an accurate budget. So thank you very much.
Good morning, I'm Ken Drake with Social Justice. Last week I mentioned that a petition was being formulated to, in opposition to the solar farm being proposed in the town of Kirkland. That's being reviewed this morning by the Climate Action Team. And next week we hope to have it available for people to sign. Okay, thank you.
Are there other announcements? All right, I have words for our call to worship from Fran Peavy, one of my favorite mentors of social activism. She was an activist who really was unafraid of asking very difficult questions about justice and suffering, about war during the period that she wrote. And I'm going to invite you, please, to come forward. Thank you very much, Malcolm, to light our chalice. The words, "A very powerful question may not have an answer at the moment it is asked. It will sit rattling the mind for days and weeks as the person works on an answer. If the seed is planted, the answer will grow. Questions are alive." And then I'm going to invite you, if you would, turn to the back of your order of service where our covenant is listed. And I'll invite you now to read this back and forth to each other so that those who are on this side will begin and then those on the other side will follow. We build our church on a foundation of love and covenant with one another to create a welcoming and trusting, safe community for all. To be honest and compassionate to all and look for the good intentions of others. To avoid gossip and speak directly to one another to resolve any differences. To speak kindly, respectfully, and compassionately while listening carefully to all viewpoints. To explore and accept personal responsibility in conflict, being able to forgive and accept forgiveness. Participating with our community where there is common ground, serving with compassion and commitment. Approaching visitors with respect, open hearts and minds, embracing everyone. We commit to this covenant as a means of supporting and living our 8 principles. Thank you. And if you would turn now, please, to hymn number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life. And when you're ready, and join by rising in body or spirit or both.
Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Spirit of great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live my wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then when life is done with me, let love be my legacy.
Thank you. Now, I do have a story for the young and young of heart, and I've got a box that has something special in it that I was thinking maybe some of the children might like to look at. If you come up, you want to see what's in here? We call this the Wonder Box sometimes. So, in this Wonder Box, would somebody like to pull out what's in there? Hello, is this working? Go ahead, pull it out. Yeah. Do you want to describe what it is? It's a wooden bowl. Is there something wrong with it? Check it out. The bottom has an autograph of the author. And where your thumb is, what happened?
Cracked.
Yep, it's cracked. And we can pass it around and see. This was a bowl that my sister, who I love very much, my older sister, went to Ireland, and it's almost paper thin. It's a very, very skinny bowl. Very gently holding it, you can see how skinny it is. Well, she brought this back from Ireland. She brought it thousands of miles in suitcases and carefully holding it. She gave it to me and I put it somewhere and forgot about it, and it broke. Oh my gosh. I was so embarrassed. I turned it around so nobody could see that it was broken. I tried to hide it. I felt terrible. I'd made a really big mistake for something she was so careful with. And so I hid it, right? And then I lost the piece that I could have glued back on it to make it look whole again, but I lost it. So I made 2 mistakes, and maybe my third mistake was that I hid it, and I didn't tell her until recently. That was a while ago. And I said, Nancy, my sister, I am so sorry. I was careless. This was so special, and I'm really, really sorry. And she was disappointed. She was really sad that this beautiful thing broke. Well, Maria's holding something that I used. Do you see that? Can you say what that is? It's a gold pencil. And what I did was to make this color where it's broken gold. Because really, I did make a mistake and it hurt. But I learned that even though I made a mistake, that I know I'm going to be more careful the next time, but that my sister loves me. And she was disappointed, but she still loves me. So I don't have to be afraid of that mistake anymore. I don't have to hide it. So I am very glad that you're here. And if you'd like, I drew a bunch of things that have mistakes and brokenness. You can have one and you can color them beautiful colors on the spots that are broken if you want to. Or you can wonder, if you made a mistake, is there a way you can make it beautiful? Okay? Yeah, you want to take one of those? The bear that has an arm that's broken. Yep. Well, thank you for coming up. I really appreciate it. And my broken bowl is better because you held it. Thank you. If you'd like to take one, go right ahead. And there are lots of colors on the tables back there that if you'd like to go back, you can go color. Would you like to go color too? There are tables back there with crayons if you'd like. Would you do that for me, David? I'm learning that children of all ages now are very afraid to make mistakes, especially during pandemic. They were working with social media that tended to show the things that were only good, and there was not a lot of ways to be compassionate about bad things or mistakes. So there are a lot of students who are not willing to write drafts that might have mistakes in them because of how it would make them look. It's really important for us to be compassionate about mistakes, especially with ourselves. Another reading, Renee Maria Rilke, who I know is a favorite of some of us. Have patience with everything that remains unsolved in your heart. Try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like written books in foreign languages that you don't know. Do not now look for the answers. They cannot now be given to you because you could not live them. It is a question of experiencing everything. At present, you need to live with the question. Perhaps you will gradually, without even noticing it, find yourself experiencing the answer some distant day. Maria Rilke. So, yikes. I do not like making mistakes. Ugh. I don't know how many people here avoid mistakes at all costs, but I know a few of you welcome mistakes because you've discovered in your lives how much those mistakes teach you. And that's a wonderful way to live if you can, and I know it's hard for some of us to make mistakes. But the word question, living with questions, comes from the Latin word. I'm not Spanish, I'm not very good with language, but I'm going to try. Carere. Say it again. Is that the Latin word for question?
Oh, no, I thought you were, I misunderstood.
Oh, please.
You said Freire.
Anyone who, actually, does anybody know another language for the word question? Please, say it again. La question. So my hearing is as bad as my speaking sometimes. Would somebody come up and say the Spanish word for question? Here. Pregunta. Pregunta. P-R-E, pregunta. Pregunta. Oh, now I want to know the history of that word too. It comes from the words having to do with seek, seeking. It's also the root word for quest, which I associate with spiritual journey. In their book, Spiritual Literacy, Fred and Mary Broussard wrote, questions are powerful allies on a spiritual journey. They stretch our mind, our body, and our soul. We are more alive when actively involved with questions and questioning. It seems that if I'm more alive when I'm asking and seeking, which I do a great deal, maybe I don't need to actually have the answers, which does not sit well with me, but maybe I don't have to have the answers to be that much more alive than I already am, than we already are, if we are asking the questions. In fact, I have questions that have been with me for many years, like, what happens after this life? Is there a God? Questions most of the time I feel comfortable not having the answers to. I keep asking the questions though, wondering about them, trying on different ideas as I have experiences that sometimes guide me or push me in different ways. I try to keep myself open to discovering parts of answers along the way. Maybe this is a kind of faith. Lacking evidence, many of us go on assuming we will learn what we need to know when we need to know it. But there are other questions that I am much less comfortable having no clear answers to, questions that may affect my everyday life. How can I bring my gifts to the world and make a difference at the same time as I take good care of myself? What is mine to do in response to the overwhelming issues of climate change, racism, poverty? Massive questions that burden my heart. But as our lives evolve, many of us have those questions that also are about whether or not we can be happy, what our purpose in life is, what it is that brings meaning to our lives. Sometimes it's hard to feel patient with not having the answer, especially if there's someone else waiting on my answer, or we have a sense of grief or unhappiness that makes it hard to be patient, or we have a lack of income sufficient to support exploration while we're stuck in a place where we have to keep doing what we're doing. It's likely that there is some anxiety mixed in with not knowing the answer to lots of different questions. Big questions come with anxiety sometimes, and we wonder how it is to be patient with everything unsolved, as Rainer Maria Rilke would have us do. It's so hard to love what is unsolved as if it were a book written in a language that we cannot read. Is it possible to replace a sense of anxiety with curiosity or even yearning? For some months now, you may have noticed, behind me on the wall, there's a simple statement: stay curious. And I wonder if you've noticed it, if you rely on it, how you feel about it, what you think about it. And I'd really like to take a few moments now to hear some of your responses to that comment and why it would be in a spiritual space or in a community of faith. Stay curious. What does it mean to you? No pressure. At all, really.
For me, open-mindedness.
For me, it means to explore.
Me, it means being observant.
Observant.
For me, it means just be careful of too many answers and too much certainty, because I don't think that's really given to us. We have to keep an open mind. Just as an example, I remember traveling in West Virginia one time, and it was a little church out in the country, and the name of the church was the Full Armor Gospel. And it just struck me that that wouldn't be a place to start learning the gospel.
And though some people are very drawn to it because they
Right.
they're in need
Yeah,
of feeling that certainty.
right.
Anyone else? Mary? Oh, Anna.
To me, it means possibilities.
Would you hand it to Anna in the back?
I think it's related to empathy, actually. I think because whenever you're having a disagreement with someone, being curious about what their perspective is can really help, right? And it can make you more empathetic to be curious, I think. Do you want to say something, Maria?
Beautiful. Anyone else have thoughts about this phrase of stay curious? Lorraine?
To me, it means childlike. And I
Yeah.
have been thinking a lot about Picasso saying he longed to get back to being childlike and not worry about how he was going to reproduce this piece, what kind of prestige he would get from it. And so he was constantly trying to get back to when he was little and he could just draw from that joy. And Einstein said he solved these difficult problems when he was roller skating or riding his bike or playing his violin. So the arts to me bring me back to childlike wonder of what's going on right here in front of me. It's
That
a miracle.
curiosity.
So
I love it.
childlike.
Beautiful. Anyone else? If you press that button to turn it off, Lorraine, and bring it forward to maybe Melissa over on the side, or here. I invited Roz and John to think with me about things that we could do in the congregation to help people build the muscle for being able to be in conflict. And this is what one of the things that we came up with was stay curious, be curious. There's another one back there that says curiosity. It was a way to encourage us to less often to judge, to less often to judge and more often ask what's going on, even if we're uncomfortable with what's going on. Staying curious to many spiritual teachers is a primary tool for going deeper, developing a maturity in our experience of whatever it is that we think or feel are our values or our spiritual lives. Staying curious means being open to questions, sometimes staying open to difficult, uncomfortable, upsetting dynamics. So this thing about an unsolved question for many of us is a very uncomfortable, sometimes upsetting thing. And for me, that whole thing about what is mine to do, oh my gosh, in this world of so much that is oppressive and hurtful, destructive, is one that's with me all the time. And sometimes I don't sit well with it, and sometimes it just lives in me. And I'm wondering if there are any questions that you all have in your hearts. And if there are, it helps us all to hear one another's questions, because we have, most of us, less patience with our own questions than we have for other people's questions. And so I'll pass this microphone once again. If you have an unsolved question in your heart that you would like to share, this is a really good time to share. Yes.
This has been a question I've had through my entire religious upbringing, through the Catholic Church, through the Episcopal Church, through all kinds of other spiritual thoughts and teachings. If there is a God that intervenes in human affairs and answers prayers, why are some prayers answered and others are denied? What kind of God would be so unjust? Is God answering the prayers of the children in Gaza or the people in the Ukraine? Is God answering the prayers of my friend whose cancer just spread to her brain? Did God answer the prayers when my mother died at 63 of cancer? I always had that question, and it's led me to believe that if there is a God, that it doesn't intervene in human affairs. That's my main question I've had spiritually.
It's a very brave thing to share your questions like this. If you'd like to, there's a hand up with a mom who's got a young one on her lap. Stephanie.
Hi. Asher and I are always wondering about the natural world. And today, Asher's wonder is about how snowflakes turn to ice and why.
Lately, mine is, what how do I know if I'm can you hear me? Yes. How do I know if I'm helping or enabling? And Jack, I'm tearing through it this time. How many times, I asked her when I ordered it at Barnes & Noble, and I said, oh, she said she had it there, and I went, damn, I was hoping you'd say you had to order it, and I wouldn't get it for a week. And I said, does it come with a box of matches? Because you know how many times I've tried to read this, and now I'm ready for it, because I'm tearing through it like candy.
Would you say that? Because a lot of people can't see it.
Oh, it's a book that's been revised, so it's even clearer, Jack, than when you read it 20-some years ago. Codependent and No More by Melanie Beattie. So if you've read it and you want to give me a little support, I'd love to hear about it.
Glenn?
I question every day what I truly believe, and more importantly, do I live by my beliefs, and what are the gaps between them?
Anyone else? Beautiful, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a set of questions, thank you, that may open us to the possibility that's found a possibility of finding and exploring answers. It's in a book called My Grandfather's Blessing. Maybe some of you know it. Rachel Naomi Raymond is a physician of oncology, an author, and also a cancer survivor herself. So she was, in this book, writing a chapter called Finding New Eyes. She tells a story of working, because she was also helping in a therapeutic way, her colleagues. A successful surgeon, very successful surgeon, who was becoming depressed and dissatisfied with his work. And Dr. Raymond suggested he try a specific exercise, asking these questions: what surprised me today? What moved me or touched me today? What inspired me today? The surgeon did not like the assignment. For the first week, you see, because I can understand that, because a surgeon must have a sense of absolute clarity and knowing the answer. And these questions were not his kinds of questions. So for the first week, he felt defeated by the questions: what moved me? What inspired me? What surprised me? The surgeon did not like it, and for this first week actually wrote nothing, nothing, nothing in answer to the three questions. Nothing. Dr. Ramon suggested he try again, this time reviewing his day as if he were a novelist or a poet, looking for people's stories, trying on new eyes. At first, he wrote how people's bones and tissues were changing their diseases. Then he began to see more deeply into what helped people deal with their difficult diagnoses. As he practiced in the evening, writing what had inspired, surprised him that day, he became more able the next day to ask different questions. He was actually beginning to say to people when he noticed the moment when he saw their strength. He began to ask them what sustained them. Now he was asking the questions. Through this process, he realized that he had known cancer very, very well, but he had not known people until he began to ask questions and notice their stories, which gave his work and his life new meaning. When he first came to Dr. Raymond to help him get ready to leave his work, he had no notion of what other work he could do. Dr. Ramon gave him these questions that helped him look into the details of his day to find hints and to live with the uncomfortable question, waiting for meaning to become apparent. Surface and become apparent it did. It's a powerful process to wonder about this. So the unanswered questions that you have in your lives are powerful tools in our lives, even if they're uncomfortable. unpleasant, or hard. And so, what surprised me, what touched me, what moved me, those questions in our day can be, windows to open onto another way of experiencing what's happening for us. If we're open to them, if we're curious about them, even reverent as we hold those questions. Answers might float to the surface that otherwise tend to stay submerged in our ordinary lives. It's a process of humbling ourselves to our questions and honoring those questions, possibly painting them with gold as the Japanese would of a broken vase, allowing the beauty of that vase to come through. We may really want to dot the I's and to cross the T's in our lives. I get that. We may want the comfort of acquiring the final answers to the hardest questions, but for many of us, it's the questioning itself that deepens spirituality, and the answers may not happen. May we learn to trust that life continually unfolds in each of us, and to give each of us what we truly, truly need to know. May our deepest questions grow into the light as we hold them with care and even reverence. Blessed be. Amen. I'll invite you to turn to page 323, Break Not the Circle. When you're ready, rise in body or spirit and join in singing.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiving and forgiven. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come wonder at the love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor given, and people keep no store of wrong or guilt, but will let human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
Thank you. Please be seated. Would you join one another now in the spirit of prayer and meditation? In whatever way that you experience a sense of connection, whether that's groundedness or of openness to something ethereal, whether it's feeling the connection of people right around you, or being more quiet inside of your very soul. In whatever way you experience that sense of depth and connection, take time. Take time and reach to that place. You are unique. You are a precious gift. You belong. And we together will be what we can in our greatest hope, a space in which all are welcome, and a space which may generate the possibility of more love, more care and justice in these walls and beyond these walls. In whatever way love and prayer and concern can travel out into the world, let it travel. Let our care settle in the heart of someone who is in need, or go to a place on the planet where there is tremendous conflict. May our love serve to increase love. May our giftedness and our gifts serve to increase justice and hope for this beautiful and beleaguered world in which we live. In all the names that are holy and all the holy names, blessed be and amen. As Chris plays for us, we will collect this morning's offering, which will be used to grow our vision of a world that is better.
I will be gentle with myself, I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself, I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself, I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself, I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself, I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment. I will be gentle with myself, I will love myself. I am a child of the universe, being born each moment.
Do you all know that this is often used in the American Sign Language community as applause? This is applause. Would you join one another now in saying the words on your order of service for extinguishing our chalice, please? We extinguish
These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
again from the Broussards. Questions can be powerful allies on a spiritual journey. May they stretch our mind, our body, and our soul. May we be more alive when actively involved with questions and questionings. May it be so for us all. Blessed be.
I used to think I had to have life all figured out, find the meaning, what it's all about. Now I look up at the blue sky and notice all the clouds. There's so much beauty when you stop and look around. I know what I am doing, I don't know where I'm going, but that's the best part. The meaning of it all is whatever I make it, I will fly and fall. Doesn't mean I'm failing. My life is always changing. My mind is rearranging. Through it all, I will feel my beautiful journey. I try to understand this life and the universe. I end up with so many questions and no answers. I am strong and I am kind, but I am not always right. I'm learning as I go through this beautiful life. I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going, but that's the best part. The meaning of it all is whatever I make it, I will fly and fall. Doesn't mean I'm failing. My life is always changing. My mind is rearranging. Through it all, I will feel my beautiful journey. All these little moments add up in my mind and bring my soul to life. It's not about a purpose, it's all about the present. In my heart I feel alive. The meaning of it all is whatever I make it, I will fly and fall. Doesn't mean I'm failing. My life is always changing. My mind is rearranging. Through it all, I will feel my beautiful journey.